Alex sits alone in his dimly lit apartment, his face illuminated only by the soft glow of his phone screen. It's Friday night, and his girlfriend, Emma, told him she'd be out for a classic girls' night, a bit of dinner, some drinks, just unwinding with her best friends. Alex had no reason to question it. After all, Emma had always been upfront with him. But tonight, he feels something he can't quite put his finger on, a small, unsettling feeling that has him checking his phone a bit more than usual. He scrolls through his messages, sees her last text. "Hey, love. Heading out now. Be back late. Love you." Short and sweet. But as he scrolls through social media, a different picture begins to emerge. He sees one of her friends' stories, a quick boomerang clip of their drinks clinking in the air, tagged at a location that Alex knows is far from where Emma said they'd be. He brushes it off at first, figuring they just changed plans last minute, but curiosity starts nagging at him. He clicks back, scanning the post, and something catches his eye. There's a flicker of someone else in the background, someone who doesn't quite fit in with the all-girls night narrative, but before he can look closer, the story ends. He tells himself he's overthinking it, but a part of him just can't shake the feeling. Memories flash through his mind of Emma's recent changes, how she's been a little distant, how she's been taking longer to respond to texts, laughing at messages she won't share. He tries to ignore it, brushing off his gut feeling as nothing more than paranoia, but his phone feels like it's burning a hole in his hand. Before he knows it, he's opening up the location-sharing app they had set up for safety. He tells himself it's just a quick check to ease his mind, but when her location pings, she's not where she said she'd be. The address shows a place they'd always talked about going together, somewhere special to both of them, and that's when Alex's stomach drops. He feels the rush of conflicting emotions, fear, hurt, anger, all battling for his attention. His eyes dart back to her social media, to the story he watched, trying to make sense of what he's seeing, but all he knows for certain is that technology has just shown him something he didn't expect to find. He sits there, motionless, the quiet hum of his apartment the only sound as he realizes that this one small discovery could change everything. Alex's mind is racing, and that little seed of doubt begins to grow, twisting and winding its way through every thought. He tries to push it away, to dismiss his concern as jealousy or even paranoia, but everything feels a little off. He opens Instagram again, checking the stories Emma's friends have posted. They're all laughing, clinking glasses at some upscale bar across town. But Emma is nowhere in sight, not in any of the photos, not tagged in any of the stories. It's strange, given that Emma is always in the thick of the action, front and center in every group shot. He flips between social media apps, combing through her friends' profiles and their recent posts, trying to find even the smallest clue that would put his mind at ease. As he's searching, his phone buzzes, a message from Emma, having fun. "It's crazy here. Talk later, face-blowing kiss." It feels generic, almost mechanical, like it could have been sent to anyone. Suspicion prickles at his thoughts again, and he finds himself scrutinizing her choice of words, picking apart the casual tone that seems at odds with the Emma he knows. The buzz of curiosity starts to turn into the burn of anxiety. A memory flashes through his mind. Emma, just a few days ago, giggling at her phone and swiping away a notification when he asked who it was. She brushed it off, calling it nothing, but now he's replaying that scene in his head, the way she'd changed the subject, the way she avoided his gaze. He checks her location again, hoping that the pin has moved, hoping she's actually with her friends, but her location is still fixed at the same address, that special spot they'd planned to go together. His heart pounds in his chest, each beat echoing the words he's too scared to say out loud. As he stares at the location on his screen, he feels a pang of betrayal, small but sharp, like a splinter lodged under his skin. His mind races with questions he doesn't want to ask, scenarios he doesn't want to imagine, yet the suspense is too thick and he's powerless against it. He feels the urge to call her, to ask outright what's going on, but he's frozen, torn between a need for answers and the fear of discovering something he can't unsee. Each passing second drags with it a mix of dread and doubt, leaving Alex stranded in the tension of not knowing. Alex can't stop himself now. His fingers move almost on their own as he dives deeper, sifting through the digital breadcrumbs Emma left behind. He opens their shared location app again, holding his breath, but her pin hasn't budged. She's still at that same mysterious address. A nagging feeling presses down on him, pushing him to investigate further. His mind replays the fragments he's found so far, the vague text, the stories without her, the unfamiliar place. Every piece feels like part of a puzzle, a picture he isn't ready to see, yet one he can't look away from. Determined, he pulls up her recent social media activity, scrolling through her likes and comments, looking for anything that might explain why she's there, anything that could calm the storm building inside him. Suddenly, he sees a name he doesn't recognize, someone who's been liking all her recent posts, a guy he's never heard her mention. It could be nothing, but as he clicks on the profile, he's struck by something unsettling, a photo of the stranger taken at the very same location Emma is pinned at now. His pulse quickens, and he feels a chill creep down his spine. It's as though each digital clue is luring him further down a path he knows could lead to heartbreak. He checks his messages again, desperately hoping for some explanation from her, but all he sees is seen. She's read his message, and yet, she says nothing. The silence speaks louder than any words could. In a haze of uncertainty, he finds himself zooming into her friend's recent posts, scanning the edges of each image, and there, barely visible, is a glimpse of her arm in one corner, Emma, unmistakably wearing the bracelet he gave her. Caught in a flash of light. She's there, just as he suspected, but she's not with her friends, not in any scene that makes sense. He's holding onto his phone like a lifeline, scrolling, searching, but every clue seems to lead him closer to the same inescapable conclusion. His chest tightens as the reality sinks in. The digital footprints she's left behind are forming a trail straight to the truth. Each new discovery pulls him deeper into the unknown, until he's left standing at the edge of a revelation he can no longer deny, his mind racing, his heart sinking with the weight of betrayal. Alex's hands shake as he stares at his phone, a storm of emotions building inside him as he pieces together the night's strange, silent clues. Every question, every pang of doubt has built up to this moment, and he knows he can't ignore it any longer. With his heart pounding, he dials Emma's number, his pulse thrumming in his ears as it rings once, twice, 3 times. Finally, she picks up, her voice sounding oddly cheerful, as if everything were normal. "Hey, babe. What's up?" Her casual tone stings, feeling almost like a slap. Alex tries to stay calm, his voice steady as he asks, "Where are you right now?" There's a moment of hesitation, so brief it could be missed, but he catches it, and it's enough to ignite a new wave of suspicion. He presses harder, letting his voice drop, trying to mask the hurt laced with his words. "I saw your location," he says, each word carrying a weight he can't hold back. Silence fills the line, thick and heavy. Her laughter, once so carefree, fades into something uncertain, and he hears a shuffling sound in the background, the faint murmur of a voice that isn't hers. He knows, in that moment, that everything he suspected is true. She stumbles over her words, scrambling to explain, but every excuse only makes the truth more glaring. He can practically hear her trying to piece together a story, something to save face, to protect the trust that's already shattered. "It's not what you think," she begins, her voice trembling, but Alex's mind is already racing ahead. Every answer she gives feels like it's falling apart, unraveling before his eyes, as her web of half-truths and secrets tangles and collapses. With each passing second, the weight of betrayal sinks deeper, settling into a place he knows will take a long time to heal. There's a final, painful pause before he whispers, "Just tell me the truth." And as the silence stretches between them, he realizes that he doesn't need her to answer. Technology already did. The next morning, Alex sits alone at the kitchen table, the quiet of the early hour heavy around him as he stares blankly at his coffee, watching the steam swirl and vanish. He barely slept, the echo of last night's confrontation lingering in his mind, each word replaying over and over. He knew he had to confront Emma face to face, even if he dreaded what was coming. When she arrives, her eyes are tired, and she seems smaller, somehow, like she's carrying the weight of every lie. She sits across from him, the silence between them thick and fragile, holding 1,000 unspoken things. Emma starts talking, her voice barely above a whisper, explaining what happened, filling in the gaps of the story Alex had pieced together himself. The truth, she says, wasn't a betrayal exactly, but an escape, a moment with someone from her past, an innocent night that got out of hand. She insists it wasn't what he thought, that there were no secrets beyond what she hadn't told him. But as she speaks, Alex realizes it doesn't matter whether it was a full betrayal or a half-truth. What matters is the fracture between them, the trust that, once solid, now feels shaky and uncertain. Her words are soft, almost pleading, and there's a tearful apology there, one that reaches him but doesn't soothe the ache that lingers. He wants to forgive her, to tell himself it was all just a misunderstanding, but he can't shake the image of that lonely night, him piecing together her night through digital fragments. The reality of it settles into something painful and permanent, and he feels the weight of every choice they made, every moment of trust they broke, wrapped around them both. As they sit in silence, Alex finally speaks, his voice low and filled with a quiet determination. "I just need time," he says, the words raw and honest. She nods, understanding, her eyes wet but steady, and they sit there, letting the silence hold the pieces of what they once had. As she leaves, Alex realizes that technology revealed more than he wanted to know, that sometimes the truth is a burden we're not prepared to carry. But he also knows that he'll have to rebuild, in his own time, and find a way to move forward, whether with her or without, with a heart wiser and a little more guarded.